This is the plaintiff, Shamika Giles. She says she rented an apartment from the defendant, and the crazy lady was a no-good busybody who invaded her privacy. That's right, the woman would show up and barge into the apartment unannounced anytime she had the urge. Now that she's moved out, the defendant won't return her security, and that's why she's here today, suing the shady lady for the $1,350 she's owed. This is the defendant, Karen Middleton. She says she went to the apartment one day for an inspection, and the plaintiff didn't answer the door. Instead, another person she didn't know came to the door, and when she asked who she was, she told her she lived there. The place was in disarray. The plaintiff ended up leaving without any notice whatsoever, and is crazy if she thinks she deserves her security back. She is accused of disrespecting a tenant's privacy. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,350 for past due rent.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says the defendant was a snoop who was supposed to be a landlord, but acted crazy by barging into the apartment unannounced. The defendant says she was a nightmare tenant who bailed without notice. It's the case of Mi Casa, not Su Casa.
Thank you, Douglas. Shamika Giles?
Yes.
You are suing Karen Middleton for $1,350, your security deposit back that according to you she was supposed to send to you and didn't. Tell me what happened.
Okay, basically when I first moved into the apartment, it was the end of October for November 1st. And she entered my apartment 3 times without announcement. The first time was on a Saturday, she just barged in, and her girlfriend said that you can't just barge in.
Her girlfriend said, who is her girlfriend, the person sitting there?
Yes.
Said to whom?
She said it to Karen.
Okay.
She told her, she said, you can't just barge in unannounced. That was the first instance.
Yeah, but why were they there?
Because she said she heard water in the bathroom, like the toilet was overflowing.
Okay.
So that's why she came in, but she never contacted me. She just barged in.
So then what happens?
Second instance, my friend that I've known for 10 years, usually she came to stay with me just for a couple of nights, spend a night like I can have company. She never once lived in the residence. She lived with her boyfriend. So one morning when I was going to work, she spent the night. She told me, she said, you know, your landlord just came again in the apartment and without notice, and she knew you wasn't there because I was at work.
What had happened? What did she tell you had happened?
She asked, was Shamika there? And my friend said no, and she just left. So then I went away on vacation. I had my friend and her boyfriend. My friend stayed the night there. They were checking on my dog. So my friend just house sit for me, but she lived around the corner. So I get a call from my friend saying, you know, your landlord just barged in because she was entering the apartment. So I put like a crate.
But why was your friend still there?
She was, she came there to finish picking up her stuff from when she housed in because I got back in time.
Okay, now these folks think that you were subletting the place.
I was never subletting the place.
Because they went twice and found another family in there.
There was never another family in there, nothing. My friend and her boyfriend and his son lived around the corner. I was never subletting that apartment. It was just me, myself, and my dog. That's it.
Do you have a lease with them?
I asked her for a copy of the lease. She never gave me a copy.
Did you sign a lease?
I signed a lease and she was supposed to give me a copy.
Do you have a copy of the lease?
Yes.
May I see it? All right, so go on.
So my friend said she came in, bust open, and was like, who are you? And just being very irate. So when I got home, they said, we need to speak to you. And it was 11 o'clock at night. Her and her girlfriend came up to my apartment and said to me, it's not gonna work. You need to be out by December 31st. And I said, I agreed. I said, okay, because I was happy to get out there because I was very unhappy there. It felt very unsafe. So I was happy and she agreed to give me my security deposit back. So I was-
You specifically discussed that?
Yes.
And then you moved out.
And then on December 7th, that's when I was taking,
December 7th?
December 7th, I started taking some stuff out. December 7th, I started taking some stuff out. December 31st is when my bedroom and everything, my bedroom set and everything came out. Then what happened was I had to rush to the hospital because my mother was unresponsive. So I rushed to the hospital.
On December 31st?
Yes, I was in the hospital with my mother on the 31st. So I went there and I told Karen, I specifically told her that I would have the rest of my clothes and everything out by 9 o'clock in the morning on the 1st, because I was up at the hospital, which January 1st, which I had everything out.
When did you finally have everything out?
9 o'clock, January 1st.
9 o'clock in the morning?
Yes. I had everything out of that apartment.
Was somebody else moving in on the 1st?
I had no knowledge of that.
All right, so you tell her you'll have everything out by 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Are you doing this by text or by telephone?
I spoke to her directly on the phone and told her that everything would be out at a place by 9 o'clock. Then I text her. I had left the keys, everything in the mailbox, everything. I text her January 4th, and I told her specifically, I have the copy of the text message. I said to her, I have all of my things out of that apartment.
Right, but you're saying that on January 4th.
Yes, I said that to her, but...
Let me see the text. Let me hear your story.
December 31st, I was outside in front of the house. I see her outside and she told me that she's moving and that she will have the rest of her things out by the 1st, the following day. I said to her, what do you mean you leaving? You moving? How you do that and you don't give me 30-day notice?
Had you ever told her that it wasn't working out?
Nope, I never told her that she had to leave. When I went up to the apartment and spoke to her, it was about her having someone live there because I spoke to the...
What made you think that the person was living there?
When I would come home from work and see her going in the apartment. So I went and I knocked on the door and I spoke to her through the door. And I asked her, I said, are you living here? Because I see you, come here all the time. I'm seeing you here all the time. Do you live here? She said, yeah, I live here. The guy that was with her said he doesn't live there. She says, but I do. I live here. And I said, well, Shamika's not supposed to have no one else living in here.
Do you have a witness?
Well, no one was there when I asked her that. I have a witness to when we went upstairs and spoke to her.
Okay, come on up. Tell me what happened when they went upstairs and spoke. When you went upstairs and spoke.
We were sitting in the living room and we were watching TV. We saw the family get out of a cab. It was a young lady, a guy, and a child. Get out the cab and come upstairs. This point, we had already had suspicions that somebody was living there.
Right.
Every night for the last 2 weeks, they would come every night.
Every night? Well, that's not a suspicion. That's evidence.
Right.
I don't understand why you call it a suspicion.
Well, because we wanted to confirm it. So what happened was we went upstairs, we knocked on the door. They were in the kitchen cooking, and Karen said, I'm the landlord. Is Shamika there? She says, no, she's not there. And we said, well, can we come in? She said yes. She opened the door, and she asked who she were. The lady said, well, I'm her sister or cousin. I'm not sure which one it was. And Karen said, well, are you living here? And she said, yes, I'm living here. And as she stated, the guy said, no, I'm not living here. Neither is my son. But the lady said she was. And then immediately she said, well, have Shamika call us as soon as she get in.
Okay. And so when Shamika comes in, you guys talk to her at what time?
It probably was about 9, because actually it wasn't that night, because that night it was really late. So it might have been the following evening.
Okay. And what day of the month is this? Do we know?
Like the end of November.
Okay. Yeah. And so you say to her what?
When her and I went in there, we decided that I would speak because she was kind of upset and she get jumbled up with her words. And Shamika and I had a good, speaking relationship. So I approached Shamika. I said, well, these are the reasons why we're here. The first thing is that we noticed you have somebody living here. And she immediately said, well, she wasn't living here. It wasn't a permanent situation. And I have that on tape.
You have that on tape?
Yeah. Absolutely.
What state are you from?
Excuse me?
Hold on. New York, one-party consent. Let's hear it. Sometimes you can take people and sometimes you can't.
So when can a landlord barge into an apartment unannounced?
I think never, because I think they need a search warrant to do that.
Well, okay, landlords can't get a search warrant, but does anybody think there's any circumstance where a landlord can go in unannounced? Anybody? Okay.
I say if there's an emergency, he should be allowed to go in.
Okay, like what kind?
Well, this might be a little extreme, but if there's a fire or something and they don't know about it, the landlord should have to go in there.
Like a burst pipe?
Yeah, he has to warn the tenant.
Fair point. Fair point. Going inside the courtroom.
You happen to hail from the state of New York, where only one party has to consent to being taped, and you're the one party who taped. So I can hear it. If you were in Florida, you'd be getting arrested on a third-degree felony right now.
Thank God we're in New York.
Yeah.
Listen to me. I don't want no drama in this house. And you can have as many visitors as you want, but all I know is that it's been a lot of lies and deceitful stuff from you since you've been here. And 1 month, they split a bad check you wrote for the first month's rent. The second thing is the fact that you backed out on your commitment to buy this furniture when you already was living in it. The third thing is that you had a small dog, but really you had that's a big dog does. He's destroying the property. The fourth thing is that you had somebody living up here against our rules and agreed on. But I can assure you that situation is gone. What I should have told you was something very temporary to help her out. This is not nothing perfect at all. Let me just say this, okay? This is what's going to happen, all right?
Who's talking now?
We're going to talk and we're going to see what's going to happen. But as of right now, this is a month-to-month. This is not a year's lease, okay? That dog has got to be contained. If we find out that this dog is destroying our carpet, that dog is out of here. Okay? The second thing is, we want nobody with the keys to our house. Listen to me. We live here, okay? We don't know who you roll with. Whoever, our safety is in jeopardy, our peace is in jeopardy, and so are our other tenants that's upstairs.
Press pause.
We don't want no drama in the...
I got to tell you, it sounds a little different than the story you were telling us in here, doesn't it? Doesn't sound like they just barge in and just find a guest coincidentally twice. It sounds like you're confessing to them, I am sorry, I was wrong. It was a temporary situation. I was trying to help her out. It was not permanent. I was wrong for not telling you, but she's gone. The situation's over. I mean, that's very different from the story you told. That sounds like you just point blank lied to me right now. What's your answer?
She was only there temporarily. She was not.
You can't sublet temporarily. You can't live there temporarily. You can't have somebody else living with you temporarily without letting the landlords know. I mean, it's not even a matter of notice. It's a matter of just pure breach of a lease that you have. Now, you're telling her before that, well, now we've got a month-to-month situation. Or you don't. You can't just magically turn a lease into a month-to-month because you say so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. But either way, I don't trust you because I caught you red-handed in a lie in my courtroom. And I don't like that. So I don't really believe that you told them in the beginning of December that they told you you had to move when I'm hearing all the other stuff that I heard in that tape. Okay. Now, what's your counterclaim?
Well, I had put in for the month's rent, but
that's what you're taking the security deposit for.
Yes.
Right. My verdict is for the defendants.
Thank you.
Well, let me ask the plaintiff something. When the judge says she can't trust you, is that good or bad?
That sounded bad.
Yeah,
but
that's bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, how come your story didn't jive with the evidence?
I really think that I was owed that because she agreed to send me the security deposit through a text message that she told me to send me the forwarding address.
You bent the rules a little bit living there, and you can't just walk out. So you understand the ruling, right?
Okay.
All right, you head right down this way. All right, so come on in here and tell me you're satisfied how this is finally resolved?
Yes, I am.
What's your comment on the testimony and behavior of that plaintiff there, tenant?
She's a liar. I've caught her in numerous lies. Within the 1 month that she was there, I felt like I made a big mistake, and I'm just glad justice was served.
Yeah. Harvey?
Here's what's important. If somebody else is going to live in your apartment, you better get it in the lease, period. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.